Previously on Fanatix4.
You know how they say 2 is better than 1? That's not always true of everything. Take, for example, my face and shaved face. Throughout the last week, we've gotten a bunch of details about Super Mario Maker 2, specifically that it's coming June 28th of 2019, and a bunch of screenshots that's revealed some more things that are coming to it. Historically, 2D Mario games have been among Nintendo's top sellers since the NES, which was forever ago. So the question is now, could Mario Maker dethrone 2D Mario as the proverbial Jumpman of the castle? Let's talk about it. So Mario's got a whole lot of things going for him, including brand recognition, strong marketing, nostalgia, and a whole bunch more. But one factor I'd like to focus on in this discussion is the target audiences. 2D Mario has a very broad appeal, from serious single-player speedrunners to families who just like to jump on each other a lot. So in theory, all Mario Maker has to do is broaden its appeal even further, and bam! It'll have expanded its user base and overtaken traditional 2D Mario. So the 4 demographics that need to feel like this game is designed for them is single-player creators, single-player players, both of which were represented very well in the first Mario Maker, but then also multiplayer creators and multiplayer players. So here are 5 progressively more exciting features and functions to touch on exactly that. And when we're all done with that, we'll finish up with a short conversation on how Mario Maker and 2D Mario may coexist in the future. So as the man says himself, let's go. Co-op gameplay for multiplayer players. This one would seem to write itself. A core appeal of New Super Mario Bros. Wii was the ability to play in local co-op, which is equal parts fun and frustrating, but in the best of ways. So one would assume they could simply implement that co-op gameplay into Mario Maker, no questions asked, and call this one a day. Well, not quite. There are a few questions that would arise that we'd first have to solve. From the footage we've seen so far of Mario Maker 2, we've noticed an icon that seems to suggest multiplayer gameplay is at least possible. There's a chance that it's just a multiplayer creator toggle, but we'll assume it's not for the time being. A toggle would be detrimental, as some levels could certainly be achievable for solo players, but not multiple, or vice versa. The toggle's really important, but ideally you could also set a specific number or range of players that could play. This may create unnecessary segregation of levels, but depending on the UI design and some other factors, this could be implemented fairly well. The real question lies here, however. Will there be online co-op? I think the answer is sadly no, but also, I don't know if we really need it. Successful execution of platformers requires the game knowing precisely where you are at exact times and with what current velocity. Poor internet quality would be entirely detrimental to many kinds of levels, such as speedruns or precision platforming, as one hiccup could cost you a whole run. There are certainly similarities to Super Smash Bros. Ultimate in some regards, but that game is focused around multiplayer entirely, so even if it's not always perfect, it is necessary at the core of its game. And the core of Mario Maker is making, so collaborative level creation for multiplayer creators. On my own, I don't have much time for level creation and only have a limited number of ideas, but I know that if I could collaborate with AJ or Logan, we could pool our efforts to create something better than we each could on our own. I liken this to writing a song. I actually play a bunch of instruments and so could write a part for a guitarist and a drummer and a bassist and a singer to all play for a song. But the downside of this would be that it's only my creative vision being represented, so that kind of limits the total possibilities of creativity. However, if you get multiple people involved in the actual writing process, then Jimmy Bob might have some ideas that I would have never been able to come up with in the first place. The main features I'd want to see here would be to be able to create and edit these levels simultaneously or separately. And there should always be one primary editor or owner that first starts a creation and invites in other editors. And additionally, we should also be able to lock anything we've created and want to stick to make sure that what you created doesn't get scrapped by somebody else. Like when you let your friend borrow your copy of Pokemon Blue and they press that new game button because they were like, I want to play a new game. Sometimes it's not best to involve other people, you know? I mean, sometimes it's just not. If you can relate it all to that, this next one's really going to be for you. Hang on. Wait a minute. What's going on over there?
Did you think you were gonna make a Mario Maker video without me? You absolute rookie.
Well, I was thinking about...
One of the things that I want most in a Mario Maker 2 is a better way to curate levels. Now, Nintendo had it down pretty damn good in the first Mario Maker. They auto-curated the levels pretty well by gauging how many people actually played and beat each level. But it would be nice to have a way to mark a level as, let's say, a troll level. Something that's built intentionally to screw you. Maybe a way to mark a level as a puzzle level. Maybe a way to mark a level as strictly a platformer. There's also no Miiverse anymore, so in the original Mario Maker, if you play it right now, there's no way for other players to warn you about certain things ahead or give you tips on a level if it's a troll level. If the only way to pass a level is a hidden door that you could never see, then you need a Miiverse guy to tell you that that door is there. Unfortunately, a comment system like that is something that they would have to build into Mario Maker 2, and I don't see them doing that. But maybe even a comment system outside of the level. When you see the level in your little course bot, maybe have a comment section there, just like on a YouTube video. That would be nice. And the old Mario Maker had a neat little website where you can see all your favorite courses in a nice, neat little list. It would be nice to have that in the Nintendo Switch Online app maybe, and have it built out even better so you can leave comments there and star your favorite levels there and queue them up so that you can hop on your Switch and play all the levels that you queued up on your phone while you were out on your way home. That would be awesome. But of course, you know, I'm just happy that the game's coming out. Thanks for your time, Parker. Thanks for letting me hijack your video.
Number 3, Overworld Creator for single-player creators. Although this wouldn't necessarily have to be exclusive to the single-player creators, it would certainly be important. In Mario Maker 1, you were able to follow specific creators and play levels that they made. This is a great feature that we should expect to see return. But some of these creators would make a series of some sort, and all they could do to display this is include it in the title. For example, Pangaea Panga's Pit of Panga, or Carl Sagan 42's Kaizo College. Even several creators from the Mario Maker Discord made Super Warp World, 22 levels that you are meant to download and play together as a congruent world. It even has its own entry on speedrun.com. But sometimes there's just a theming that's important to having an overall world tying it all together. At the moment, the only way to play actually sequential levels is through 100-man, and sometimes you want to play something with more purpose than that, or maybe play a world that takes more than 100 lives. Mario ROM hacks have exploded in the last few years, and Nintendo should take advantage of this trend by allowing it to be created in their own game. I would argue that regardless of the style of levels, the overworld should always be in the Super Mario World theme, because frankly, it just looks the prettiest. Ideally, your progress in each of these should also be saved so that you can pick back up where you left off later. This would be a huge deal for all sorts of players. However, I don't think that it should actually replace the 100-man, but rather share 100-man challenges for single-player players. There's a certain rush that exists with the 100-man. Although I appreciate the way in which Mario Odyssey helped to sunset the archaic arcade machine tradition of collecting and hoarding lives, I do have an appreciation for being given 100 lives and the goal of beating a previously undefined challenge, as there is always challenge in when to skip, when to look for cheese, when to just push on, and so forth. And sometimes there's just a run that's great, or awful, or something to write home about, and that's where I'd like to see some sort of sharing functionality. When Google Stadia was announced, we saw the ability to share states for others to get to pick up where you left off. Although this would be implemented slightly differently here than in Google Stadia, upon completion or failure of 100-man, I would love to see Nintendo give you the option to either save that run to try again later, or share it to challenge others to give it a shot. The streaming community for Mario Maker is huge, and this game was on Wii U. And this honestly would be a huge sell to see Grand Pooh Bear or Ryukar or Barb tweet out this 100-man that really stumped them or they love, and then us getting to participate by trying it for ourselves. Recently, Nintendo has actually been loosening up on these content creation rules, so here's hoping that they actually understand what a blockbuster they have on their hands. But what if, of all those things I've mentioned to you, none of them specifically appeal? Well, if you like Mario at all, I think this last one's a shoo-in. Weekly worlds for everyone. It's no secret that games like Mario Maker can be overwhelming. There's just so much content, so much to create, to play, to find. But in the first Mario Maker, it was hard to know exactly where to go and what to do. You could play 100-man, search for creators or levels, go to the top rated, and that's most of it. As a creator, you could hope that you'd get discovered by one of these means, which would be very exciting, but I don't think quite as exciting as what I've got in mind. In the same way that we could build our own overworlds, I would like to see Nintendo create a few weekly overworlds, one for each difficulty level, and let you play through these 8 or 10 levels in the week. No life cap, but rather it would keep count of your deaths, like many ROM hacks do, and would be replayable to accommodate total runtime speedruns. These would be archived so that you can revisit them later and keep trying to improve on your scores or beat others. And the best part is that means there's an ever-increasing amount of easily accessible content that's not intimidating to play. If it wasn't clear before, these would be highly rated levels that are user-created but staff-picked. And ideally, every world would be given its own weird and wacky name so that later you could go back and Google Best Mario Maker Weekly World so that you can go back and play the ones you missed. Whether Nintendo likes it or not, Mario Maker is going to be one of Nintendo's platform games that ironically will also be a platformer. And this is where Mario Maker differs from traditional 2D Mario. Coexisting. I think those 5 ideas, plus what Bob said, would all make for a spectacular Mario Maker game. But it does bring to question what all this means for 2D Mario. We actually haven't seen a legitimately new 2D Mario game since Mario Maker released in 2015. All we've gotten is the port to the Switch, New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe for Switch with the cherry on top, plus New Super Luigi U with 2 more cherries on top. But I don't think this should mark the end for Nintendo-designed 2D Mario games, but rather that they should be a breeding ground for new mechanics, art style, and concepts to pilot, and then after a while, hand those down to Mario Maker to play around with. I think that we're tempted to believe that now that we have the toolset, we're better at designing levels and concepts than Nintendo is. And this could be true on a very narrow level, but I don't believe is the case across the board. Nintendo is responsible for making games and levels that appeal to a whole world of gamers. That doesn't mean they stick the landing in every situation, but by and large, they're very inventive and help represent a really wide audience. But as it is, Pit of Panga U-Break is not a level for everyone. Although for that matter, neither is Super Mario Bros. 2 The Lost Levels. So I think Nintendo should use their creativity and ingenuity to make new standalone games that give us new mechanics and tool sets that they can then pass down to us to play around with in Mario Maker. So to answer the original question, could Mario Maker replace traditional 2D Mario? I don't really think so, but it theoretically could overtake it as a platform in the future. But that's what I think. What do you think? Will 2D Mario be overthrown by Mario Maker? Are we better at making Mario games than Nintendo is? Does my face look super weird without a beard? Let me know the answer to that and more down in the comment section down below, and give a like while you're there. And also, most importantly, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications for more videos like this one every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. And then we'll also pick out some of those comments to talk about on our podcast directly to you, which is every Saturday at sometime in the morning. All the links are down in the description or somewhere right around my face right now. See you guys later. Have a great week.